Good morning, Chem 307 guys. Welcome to an edition here of Bob TV. What we're going to do here is talk to you very quickly about how to do your chapter notes for chemistry. You do this, of course, in Mathematica. What I've done is I've provided you with a template that should make life a little bit easier for you. So you'll want to use this template every time. What you're going to do, quite simply, is come and change all of the things that are appropriate for the given chapter. Let me dig my textbook out here. So for example, if I were doing chapter 1, I would, which you don't have to do, I would come in and I would say the nature of chemistry. I come and I put my PIN number in, whatever my PIN number is. Okay, there it is, should be a 4-digit code. And then for each of the sections here, what you're going to want to do is come and put the section title. So in this case, it's Why Care About Chemistry. And you're going to want to do that for each of the sections here. And what you should notice here is that I have each section broken down into vocabulary and key concepts. Have it broken down into key equations, and I have it broken down into relative graphs, tables, and charts. So you're going to want to go through here, by the way, and do all of these appropriately. Shouldn't take you long to do those. If you do have extra sections at the bottom, you're going to want to get rid of those so that they're not in there. Please make sure you do that. So let's go over and take a look at one that I've done that will give you an idea of what this looks like. So again, I don't have my PIN numbers and stuff in here, that's okay. So, and I have a little bit different format here, I think, than in the template. Yes, I do. It's okay, doesn't matter about the format. So for example, under vocabulary, I didn't find much in section 1.1. I just found a couple definitions. I made these as sub-items or bullets. Again, it doesn't matter particularly how you do those, but these are text. Under section 1.2, I did go and I used the chemical data command to look at the structure of aspirin. I looked at the a rotatable structure here, and I looked at what's called a space filling molecule. So I put these in here so I have these molecules that I can go back and take a look at. Likewise, I did that down here for another drug. So you'll see how I use the chemical data. This is celecoxib. I use the chemical data command to be able to look at this. I also, for this particular one, used the import command, and notice that I'm pointing at a web address here. I use the import command to, in this case, import what's called a PDB file, and that's a file format for proteins. And again, you may or may not need to do that. Okay, going down to section, that was 1.2, going down to section 1.3, I've got a bunch of vocabulary in there. Section 1.4, I've got, again, a bunch of more vocabulary in here. For this particular one, I did a conversion of temperatures, which you won't need to do for section 2. Now, for under calculation types, and I'll show you how to do this in class, I did do an example calculation. So what I'm doing right here is I've generated an equation for calculating density. What do I need to know to calculate density? I need a mass. I have the underscore there, which means it's a variable, and I have an underscore there, which means it's a variable. So density depends on mass, and density depends on volume, and I define that equation here. Typically what I'm going to do is I'm going to do an equal, a colon equal sign, and get rid of that, and that will, that didn't work quite there, that's why I have to clear some stuff. That will be the way we typically do things, but for now I wouldn't worry about that. Okay, and then what I do is I plug in, my mass is 6.544 grams and my volume is 8.30 milliliters, and when I do the evaluator, it'll do the correct calculation. Notice that I found a graphic. I did a Google search and I found a graphic that showed me the density of some substances at 20 degrees C. So I included that in my chapter notes. So here's another example of an equation where I'm finding using dimensional analysis. So these are the kinds of things you want to try to get into your chapter notes. Notice here again, I went and found a nice picture to try to capture what they're talking about in the text, and on and so on and so forth. So this is the kind of thing that I'm looking for. I expect the first chapter notes to be a little rugged, but that's okay. We'll give you some feedback on them and tell you what we think you need to do to make this better. The whole idea of the chapter notes is to make sure you get your head in the textbook and are using the textbook appropriately. Recall that I said I put a cartoon in here. I like cartoons. Remember that I said you're going to get about 30% of the information you need from class. You're going to get another big chunk, another 20% from the textbook. So you need to be making sure you do that. Okay, I hope that helps, and we'll talk to you more about chapter notes in class. Thanks very much.